K2, Arbiter GVAT, I'm here, KG5IWQ, with a Ranger how-to. So, on accident, I spilled about 3 gallons of tiki fluid, which is an oil-based fluid, into the truck. It was on the seat. It fell off the seat, and it went down there. We'll get to that in a sec. But 3 gallons worth. And it reeked, so I decided, no, we can't drive with the smell, fumes, it's gotta be cleaned. I was debating whether to go down to Home Depot and buy new insulation for the car, because you can use basically the same carpet insulation normal houses use. It doesn't have to be anything special. But for a Ranger, that's not true. It's actually really easy to clean up, surprisingly, and this is oil-based tiki fluid. This stuff's not nice stuff, man. This gets into everything. What I did is I took off the seats which are in there. I gotta put them on tonight. I decided, alright, we're gonna start gutting this thing out. It wasn't difficult at all, surprisingly. It was just some work, and it was a matter of taking bolts and screws out, and that was about it. The first thing you want to do if something like this happens to you, take off the seat bolts. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on that side 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see them. Here's 1, 2, and then 3 and 4 are on here. Pretty big bolts, so you're going to need a large assortment of wrenches. For this job, really all you're going to need is a large assortment of wrenches and possibly with an extension and a Phillips screwdriver. Phillips Star, whatever. But anyways, so after you do that, you take off these panels here. Take them on that side off. Take it on that side off. And then you're going to take off these screws. There's a screw here. You can kind of see where my finger is. Here. Over here. 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 And here. Those are going to also be holding down the black mat. This is for Rangers with a black matting and not carpet. I don't want to mess with carpet. Carpet's bad. But anyways, once you have that done, take off this back panel. There's a top mount and there's a middle mount right there. You got to take those guys off. Like, once again, it's just a matter of a bunch of undoing screws and all that. And then once you do that, you're really home free. That rug should pull out pretty easily. When you're ripping the insulation out, you want to be careful and make sure these are fed through. Otherwise, these are the seat alarm thingies, so that can recognize there's a seat belt being plugged into it. Don't mess with those. But when the tiki fluid's spilled, it spilled on this side, and this entire part was covered. You can still see it's kind of dark. It was all fluid. It's all oil, and it was bad. So I had to come in here with Dawn soap and wash it out really good. I did that. And then I pressure washed the mat. She's good to go back in, or hopefully get her in tonight. Pretty easy job. Oh yeah, and you're also going to take off the middle seatbelt screws, which are star or big torque screws. That's going to be the only difficult thing you might need to have. Let me show you the size here, because that's kind of important. These guys right here are a really weird size, so you're better off just going to the store and buying an assortment of Torx. Because if you're working on a Ranger and you don't have a Torx set, you shouldn't be working on a Ranger. So go ahead and buy that. But other than that, you rip up the insulation. Now, depending on what you have, here's how you clean your insulation. Hopefully you have the same stuff I do. Usually most Rangers do. For info, this is a 2003 Ford Ranger Edge extended cab 3.0 V6. I think it's almost an extended bed, so whatever. But you're going to take these guys out. Alright. Take them out. And this will work if you have gasoline. Oil, though, like straight engine oil, I'm not too sure if that'll work. You may just be better off replacing it than going through all the trouble. Oil is definitely one of the nastiest things out there. But these guys, I took a bucket of water, okay, filled that completely up with water, a tiny bit of soap, not even that much, and I diluted these rugs. I let them soak in there for about 5 minutes, squidged them out, or took them out, squeegeed them out, wrung them out, and then repeated the process one more time. After you do that, you can basically throw it in your washer. Mainly try to get all that smell out in the first dilutions of the water. but put it in your washing machine with a slight amount of detergent. Give it a heavy duty cycle if you have that on your washer, and then throw it in the dryer and you're good to go. That's what I did with these. The dryer was on medium heat. Warm water, cold water, whatever you want to use with these things are okay. But you can throw it in your washing machine, and that's because you diluted all the oil or whatever in here. All the bad stuff was mainly taken care of in that. So when we put this back on, we're going to put this guy. This guy's going to go. It's basically reversing the process here. You're going to reverse, put it in here. Other side right there is going to go on this side. Something I will say and that I noticed is when you're screwing around with this and you have a newer Ranger, you're going to run into this problem. Out of the factory, they glue it to the bottom of the mat, and you're going to need to, let's just say here real quick, one thing is going to be extremely helpful: handy dandy power washer. That took all the junk off of that thing for me. Cleaned it up really good. And, there's some parts on here I will not have speed yet to be able to get off, but hey, that works good. So if you do have a power washer, give that a few sprays. And if you don't have a power washer, you're going to be putting some man hours into it, that's for darn sure. Or pulling it off with your hand using Dawn's soap. It doesn't all necessarily have to come off. I just did that because it looks better and it's a little bit easier to put on. When you put the insulation back on, no glue is required. You don't have to hot glue anything. You could. I'm not, because if something like this repeats, I don't want to mess with it again. And we have to repeat that glue process. And the reason I'm not going to use glue is because this will hold it on. These bolts will hold it on when it's actually on. That's what it's designed for. And they put very, very minimal amounts of glue on the mat on the factory. But that's Ford Ranger, how to take care of a spill. And just reverse the process of you took it out. Make sure you know where all your screws are. But that's it. It's pretty simple. So good luck, guys, if you're doing this. God forbid you have to. But I figured I'd make a video on it just in case I needed to. Here's the seats. This seat's pretty heavy. I get a friend or something to help you out with it. It's just an awkward weight. This seat's not bad at all. And you're also going to need to remove this center console and the door guards. So, yeah, I did custom caution marks. But yep, that's it. Not much to it. Alright, guys, you have a good one. And hopefully this is beneficial. If not, I don't know. Guess it's just a kind of whoopsies project. Alright, you guys have a great night. KG5 IWQ Clear 73.